All right, welcome back, everyone. Today, we are jumping straight into a seriously action-packed explainer all about the fastest and, honestly, the most entertaining ways to become absolutely overpowered in a cultivation universe. We're specifically diving into the wild world of The Chronicles of the Three Paths, The Great Restoration. We're going to break down the stories of characters who totally skipped the whole meditate on a mountain for a century thing and went straight to God tier by unlocking literal cheat codes to ascension. We are talking brute force muscle, genius level strategy, and insane spiritual magic, so buckle up because we're moving fast.
Imagine this for a second. You've got a cultivation world, right? People dedicate their entire lives, decades of grueling work, meditating on ridiculously dangerous mountains, literally risking their very souls if they make a single tiny mistake. So, what happens when the most ordinary, or even the absolute weakest characters, suddenly stumble into a cheat system? What happens when they reincarnate with divine abilities that just hand them godlike power literally overnight? Whether it's a glowing video game menu floating in front of their eyes or instant access to ancient spiritual mantras, it completely flips traditional storytelling on its head. And honestly, that hilarious, exhilarating contrast is exactly what we're analyzing today.
Okay, part 1. Enter the cultivation world. Let's dive right into this baseline reality.
So, for those of you who might be completely new to this genre, cultivation is essentially this awesome, mystical blend of martial arts and deep spiritual practice. People in these worlds absorb cosmic or spiritual energy directly from their surroundings, and the ultimate goal? To transcend normal human limits. They want superhuman physical strength, mastery over elemental magic, and eventually, full-blown immortality. But here's the catch. It is a brutally unforgiving reality. Only the strong survive. It's high stakes all the time.
Now, picture a normal cultivator's journey. It's all blood, sweat, and decades of perilous meditation, where one tiny little slip-up can literally destroy your body. That's the norm. But then we have our three protagonists. They don't need decades of anything. Sisan gets a real-time game menu and instant stat boosts. Young Rude just absorbs ancient knowledge on command. And Limo? He reincarnates as a spiritual detective with immediate flawless magical prowess. It's this hilarious, almost absurd gap between the grueling struggle of everyday fighters and the completely unearned, instant dominance of our heroes.
Moving right along to part 2, the ultimate cheats, systems, libraries, and spiritual mantras.
Let's look under the hood at the exact mechanics of these unbelievable powers. Sisan has what's called a system. It basically acts like a video game interface in his mind, tracking his real-time stats and giving him instant advancement options. Then you've got Yang Rui. He gets bloodbound to the legendary Land Swan Library, which gives him absolute dominion over all ancient texts. And rounding out our trio is Limo. His cheat code is his innate Buddhism light and lightning mantras. Since he reincarnated as a spiritual detective, this magic lets him totally bypass complex spellcasting to just instantly banish evil. Boom, done.
You've just got to love Yang Rui's realization here. Normally, in these kinds of stories, the main character suffers some horribly tragic end before they reincarnate with cool powers, right? Not Yang Rui. He literally just falls down a mountain, wakes up in a random cave, and boom, he's instantly the dean of the Lanquan Artillery. He was handed the power of a supreme being with absolutely zero struggle. He even points it out himself, and that self-awareness brings such a fun, refreshing comedic energy to the whole thing.
And when we compare their initial goals, it's wild how different their paths are, even though they all have absolute power. Sisan's system is giving him literal video game quests, like go farm points and absorb monster cores. Yang Rui has a quota. He needs to recruit exactly 100 disciples to unlock the restricted magical texts in his library. Meanwhile, Limo is out there using his spiritual mantras to immediately start solving complex supernatural crimes. They are taking completely different, totally ridiculous paths to the very top.
Which brings us to part 3. One-punch brute force, Sisan's physical might. Let's talk about some serious muscle.
150. Out of nowhere, Sisan's physical attributes instantly spiked from 130 to 150. Did he do rigorous push-ups and sit-ups? Nope. He simply consumed a high-level demonic beast core. His system flawlessly processes the core and instantly upgrades his physical limits. No dangerous bottlenecks, no risking his life in meditation, just instant raw power.
And the sheer absurdity of the feats he pulls off with this power? It's incredible. Sisan literally defeated a high-level fire element disciple with a single kick to the backside. He caught an opponent's spear with his bare hands and just casually bent it like a cheap toy.
He shattered the arena's punching record, and get this, when a terrifying Dark Phoenix unleashed a massive thunder attack right at him, Season's system just absorbed the lightning directly. It is the absolute pinnacle of overpowered brute force.
All right, slowing things down just a bit for Part 4, the Library Dean's Strategy, Yang Rui's Path.
So unlike Season, young Rei's system doesn't push him to just go out and brawl. It pushes him to build a legacy, very logically, step by step. Like we talked about, waking up in that cave bound him by blood to the library, making him the dean instantly. His very next move? Start recruiting. He rescues a brilliantly talented girl named Xiao Xiao from bandits, kicking off his overarching quest to hit that magic number of 100 disciples. Once he hits that critical mass, he gets full access to the world-bending ancient texts hidden deep inside the library.
But don't let the scholarly title fool you. Yang Ri barely has to lift a finger to completely dominate a fight. When he was attacked, he caught a falling magical sword and just shattered it barehanded. He stopped a massive roaring fire wave with a single finger gesture. I mean, come on. He even used a freezing skill to lock his enemies in place like stone statues, and then effortlessly awakened 100% of his disciple Xiao Xiao's dormant bloodline potential. It is total, absolute domination without breaking a single sweat.
Which all leads to Part 5, Battling the Demon Clan, the ultimate crossover clash. Things are about to get intense.
Because here's the thing, the ultimate test of these system cheats only really happens when the stakes go apocalyptic. We get this epic crossover event where Sison, Young Rui, and Limo actually have to unite to face Lord Chuzian, the truly terrifying leader of the Demon Clan. And Lord Chuzian isn't holding back. He unleashes the legendary 7 Hell Formation. This is an ancient reality-warping trap specifically designed to annihilate even the absolute strongest traditional cultivators. The climax of this battle. Visually, it is spectacularly epic. Lord Chuzian is screaming his threat, trying to drag our heroes down into the abyss, and then the 3 paths just collide head-on with the 7 Hell Formation. The elemental VFX going off here are insane. You have Limo unleashing these crackling, brilliant lightning mantras, Sison stepping up and delivering an explosive, earth-shattering one-punch, and Yang Rui countering the raw, dark magic with these glowing, highly strategic spiritual seals drawn straight out of his ancient library. It's this perfect, chaotic storm of brute force, tactical genius, and pure spiritual magic clashing against a primordial evil.
And the way this brings all their narrative arcs together is just brilliant. Facing an attack that would literally vaporize a normal cultivator, Sison simply shatters the physical constraints of the formation with pure, unadulterated force. Yang Ri steps in and flawlessly shields the entire group with absolute freezing magic. And finally, Limo steps forward casting this radiant Buddhism light that completely cleanses the dark remnants of the 7 Hell Formation. Together, they definitively prove that their specialized cheat codes vastly surpass even the most ancient destructive traditional magic out there.
And that brings us to the end of today's analysis. We've seen exactly how these unique cheats can instantly elevate ordinary folks into untouchable gods, completely bypassing centuries of grueling training. So I'm going to leave you with one final thought. If you were suddenly dropped into a deadly cultivation world tomorrow, which cheat would you choose? Would you go for Sison's explosive brute force, Yang Ri's master strategy, or Limo's undeniable spiritual magic? It is definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring those amazing worlds.